what a deal, what a deal. Hey guys, it's Jax, and I've got a problem. Well, everything's been going great until it's not going great. Oh man, I'm making good time, on track, on pace. Pulled in to do my sleep, shut my truck off last night. Woke up this morning and it won't start. Just been running like a top after getting the most amazing fuel mileage that I've gotten this entire career of owning this truck. Just deader than a doornail. Not deader than a doornail, sorry. It's got plenty of juice. It's just cranking over. So it'll crank, wow, wow, wow. But it's not getting any fuel. Something's not telling it to fuel. I give it a little shot of starting fluid and it'll and just die, like immediately die. Which means that if it was a fuel starvation issue, it would probably run and get it kind of primed up, and it would likely run a little bit, but run rough. If it wasn't getting enough fuel. This is just plain old getting zero fuel. It's like when I'm cranking, there's nothing coming out the pipe. You can just tell that by listening to the sound of the engine cranking, it's just a dry crank. So I've got a guy on his way out. He's about an hour past what he thought he would be getting here. And I don't want to be the guy that bugs him. However, it is 2 o'clock and it's getting close to that end of the night where you start worrying about being able to get any parts once we find out what's wrong. I've been driving through, like, as you watched, like 400 miles of like some serious moisture. And the fact that it just ran fine, now it won't run at all. I mean, just totally 100% opposite direction, has me thinking that it's something electronic. I don't know, we'll see. The things that I worry that it's gonna be is the ECM, which would stink because I got this ECM tuned. So it's got a nice fuel mileage / power package in it. And if the ECM's fried, I think I lose all that. But reading up on the forums while I'm waiting for my service guy to show up, it sounds like on this age of Detroit where they're getting, you know, a 20-year-old motor, 90% of the time it's either the ECM, which is kind of a worst case scenario because they're expensive and hard to get a hold of. And then there's a couple of sensors, a cam positioning sensor and a crank. Anyway, I think there's 2 different ones. I think it was a cam and a crank. But anyway, those are also very common, much easier to deal with. But no way to know until we start digging around. I've kind of done all that I can do out there. Checked connections, fuses, kind of the usual culprits for not providing enough power to get the things going. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'm trying to remain optimistic, but the worst case scenario of this is if I don't get out and get this unloaded by Friday and don't get a reload, then I'm stuck until Tuesday because of the holiday. So I'm facing a interesting situation. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, but it ain't been plugged in a long while. No, that's not the one. No, that's not the one. to the truck wash after we get a little oil on the wheel here, but
yeah.
I guess it depends on if you overfill it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen it down this way.
Yeah. Couple handies.
Yeah, that. Here's your morning update. Obviously got towed in. Found a place, begged and pleaded and pleaded and begged. Used all my tricks, all my niceness, and almost wasn't enough, but I got into a shop here on site here in Des Moines. They're gonna check things out, see what's going on. Starting checking fuel pressures. Guy on the road yesterday came out, we checked the ECM. He brought a test ECM and it still didn't work, so that's good. I like my ECM. This truck is tuned real nicely for efficiency, and I like the way it runs. So the fact that the ECM, which is the engine control module, that it's okay is good. So next things I guess to look for are next to check and see if we got fuel pressure. You need a certain amount of pressure of fuel going into the engine to get those injectors to open, and probably looking like we're not getting that, but we'll see. So my mind is trying to stay focused, but I'm starting to get a little frazzed with the delay of my journey. But anyway, that's where we're at. Okay, so took the fuel line off. It is pumping fuel. It's moving fuel. Next step in the diagnostic is going to get a transfer pump. So the ECM apparently works. It's getting fuel. So we're just curious if it's getting enough fuel. So we're gonna put a transfer pump on this hose here. That'll give it plenty of pressure. And we're gonna see if it'll run off a transfer pump. Still not running. So we run it off his pressure system and it's not going. So that kind of rules out fuel problems. Which is going to send us back to something electronic sensor, something likely electronic. Okay, y'all, see that little, come on, see that sensor back there? Okay, so that sensor that I just showed you is called, I believe it's the SRS. Anyway, and I read about this online, of course, sitting all day yesterday, read. And I had a roadside guy actually come out and test my ECM yesterday. Well, you saw that. And I asked him about the sensors, and and he didn't have a computer. So these guys, we checked the fuel just now, we did all that. He hooked his computer in, and of course it tells you, comes up. It doesn't come up as a fault code on my dash, so there's no way that I can see that. But on his computer it comes up and it says SRS missing. And then he actually cranked it over, and the ECM, it's not even sending in anything. So it's not like the sensor's a little dirty, or it's just completely. So putting new sensors in, the hope is that the issue is the sensor itself. There's always still a possibility it could be somewhere in the wiring harness between the ECM and the sensor, but doubtful. Probably 99% chance that it's the sensor, because it's just not even reading. It's plumb kaput. But I did drive in all that rain for so long leading up to this event that there could be some breakage somewhere. Although my wiring harness and stuff on all this is real fresh, because we did this glider project a couple years ago to put this motor in. So anyway, I'm thinking sensor. So there's two. There's the SRS and is it the crank position sensor, the other one? Anyway, some of you mechanics will know what I'm talking about. But we're gonna replace both of them just for good measure, since we're in here, and go from there. Oh look! Everyone moved over a mile ago, and look, the traffic's not stopped. Zipper merges are for the birds. Join me as I walk through the glades, through the burning sun of Indiana and the wonders of this rest area. You guys, this has got to be one of the nicest little rest stops in the country. You wander down off the hill, and it's like this beautiful pavilion. I'm on 74. I think it is. West of Indianapolis. Look at this. Irises? Is that right? My mom is gonna be very ashamed of me. No, I don't know. Little side tip about my folks, they're flower wizards, by the way. Anyway, I've been running this truck down the road all day, and everything's just running great. We're all fixed up, everything worked out good. I learned some lessons, and I'll just share it with you. So there's this delicate balance you have to watch when you're a truck driver talking to mechanics about, I feel like anyway, about things that are wrong with your truck. Because there's some truck drivers that really don't know, they really don't know much, but they're the only ones that don't know. They don't know very much. And they'll come into a mechanic and be like, it's this, so change that, and blah, blah. And they can be real forceful about it, and it can really turn mechanics off and get them frustrated and all that. Yesterday out there on the side of the road, you know, I had read up on all this stuff, and it basically boiled down to, as we talked earlier, ECM or one of these sensors, right? And he checked my ECM, and it was fine. And I talked to the guy about the sensors. I was like, well, should we check these sensors out, see what's going on?
No. I think it's your air compressor / fuel pumps just sounding weird. I think it's a fuel issue.
And he said, that's all I can do for you. You have to get her towed in. And I should have been probably more forceful and just said, look, I will pay you whatever amount you need paid to go back to town, go to Des Moines, get those 2 sensors and come out. I've read about them. They're often an issue with this Series 60. In fact, this is funny because I can't remember who out there in YouTube land, but somebody messaged me and was like, hey man, those Series 60s are great. Here's a couple things to carry on your truck. He messaged me that like 2 or 3 days ago. And within 2 or 3 days of him saying that, boom. So he's probably back. You'll have to comment, whoever you were again, and say I was the guy because you were telling me to get those sensors. And of course, now I definitely will be. I should have just been a little more like, just whatever, charge me whatever. $300, run back to town, go get those sensors, let's change them out. If they don't work, then that's fine, but I'll know at least that they're changed. And I just should have. I knew I had done my research, and I wasn't just, a guy blowing off about, I know everything about this. I was legitimately had researched it, and I should have just been a little more, this is what I would like done to my truck. So I feel a little bit like I learned a lesson that when I've done my research and whatnot, it's just, just probably should have done it. Anyway, so funny story, I get back on the road and I pass that roadside mechanic and he calls me because he wanted to know what we found out. And he actually apologized. He's like, you know what, I'm sorry, man. He goes, that's my bad, I should have done better on that. So props to him for apologizing. Props to Pro Diesel in Des Moines for being so good about squeezing me in. It was a small fix, but we didn't know if it was gonna be a small fix or not when they accepted me into the shop. So anyways, we're rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling Barbara Ann. Let's go. Got a long ways to get. We made it. Little different deal here. You gotta unhook your trailer. Guys, it's like pouring rain. I bet I drove through more rain last night than I've seen in all of Montana in the last 12 months. Just pouring. But here you gotta unhook your trailer and they hook on and lift it up. It's gonna be kind of interesting. I haven't been around it, but anyway, we gotta get unhooked, get pulled out, and let these guys get to unloading. guys have this cool system. Usually, you guys remember from my last Apple video, we had to do a, look at that rain. Remember last time they have that conveyor and it fills these totes up pretty slowly? These guys just stick the crates right under and they dump right into the crates, which is pretty cool. It's a pain, you gotta unhook your truck and trailer and all that. On a normal day it wouldn't be so bad, but it is like just coming down. And due to that, I am like a drowned rat, as you can probably tell. But I found some shelter from the storm, so I'll try to get you a little idea what's going on from my little nest underneath here. They told me I could go back to my truck if I wanted to be about 45 minutes, and I was like, guys, I just drove 2,700 miles, and the last thing at this moment I want to do is be in my truck. So, longest trip I've ever done, by the way. 2,700 definitely takes the cake, like, no doubt. So that's always kind of fun, get a little benchmark, you know what I mean? That's true. Well, I don't know, I'm on East Coast time, so kind of all mixed up. That air can's leaking. That's that lift axle on that truck. What lifts it up is two big old giant air cans. They're like the regular air cans you have on your brakes on your truck, except for they double them up so they're twice the power. Great idea in theory, but in the 3 years I've owned that lift axle, I've now had to replace both lift cans each, which to me is pretty poor. So that's made by Holland New Way. They've discontinued them, ironically. So I'm gonna have to pick up a new one of them, I guess, somewhere along the way. Change that out when I get home. I want to show you something. Here's kind of cool. Check this out. Y'all ever seen a trucker wearing shorts? Well, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna guess that they use it still, and hopefully I don't have to get used there. Huh? Well, I got my reload on, all that feather meal. They call it feather meal, if you're wondering. Feather meal over in Delaware. Now I've got the weekend to run to Kansas City, unload there right after the holiday, and just keep her scooting on to the next deal. Got a lot of stuff going on at home, so we're gonna get back home and kind of switch gears for a little while. And it's the update. See all the little oil drips from the trucks? How about this old boy? Check out the water station here. No. Let's say I was down under here doing an inspection, and all of a sudden the truck just dumped all of its oil on my face. And I'm an officer down there just getting blasted with diesel and oil. I would come scurrying out and say, hit me, and I'd pull the lever, but the lever's got no juice as I continue to get my skin oiled. It all seems a little defunct. Nothing for the hands, nothing for the head, and darn sure nothing for the old eyeballs. But they do got a lunch table. I always wanted one of these in my shop at home, but I figured it would just be too much hassle to deal with people falling in and... Oh, look! Whoops. Whoops. Apparently in the zombie apocalypse, they do still do nighttime inspections. Okay, well, they're just wired backwards. When you turn it on, they go off. Turn it off, they go on. Okay. I hope none of the officers from this place follow me. So if you're a trucker, this right here is known as the Tunnel of Doom. Looks more like something out of The Walking Dead, if you ask me. Scale's closed. I'm already walking through spider webs. So a semi would pull over this deal, pull right over the, and then this gives these guys, so they don't have to use a creeper and crawl under and inspect you. This puts them right under the truck, so they can just check it out. Ugh. But I don't know. I don't know if it's defunct. This is for the little short officers. Huh. Oh man, race against the clock. So unloading went good, went easy. That was kind of a different way. Kind of cool to see how that works. I do just naturally, not really care for things that tweak your equipment in a way that's not really the way what they were designed to do, like raising that front end up. I mean, it's fine. But you're like, oh, that weight's going back on those back axles. And, granted, I was loaded way lighter than my max, so I'm sure, it was fine. But all that stuff's always like going through my head. Anyway, let me get to this. So I got my reload. Millsboro, Delaware, which is about 190 miles from where I unloaded them apples. How about them apples? Oh. How did I not think of that joke until now? How about them apples? Bada bing, baby. Anyway, my dispatch form came through, and it said tomorrow, to load tomorrow. I'm like, oh, it's a big old turkey plant, Mount Air it's called. And I've loaded out of there before, last time I was out east, and I'm loading feather meal this time out of there. Anyways, it's going back to, well, I'm not quite positive yet where it's going back to, but anyway, it's going back to the Midwest, to be determined, but they told me it's tomorrow. So I unloaded my apples. I was all soaking wet. I changed out of my wet clothes. I'm all ready to crawl back in my bunk and go to bed because I drove all night last night. Anyway, I'm ready to go to bed, and I'm like, I'm gonna call these guys just to be sure. Even though last time I went in, no appointment needed, so I called them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm scheduled to come in tomorrow, Saturday, and load up. What do you say? Oh, we're not open tomorrow. You guys imagine if I hadn't called. And I just showed up out there tomorrow and the whole place is boarded up. You know what that means? I'd have been stuck in Marlboro, Milfordville, Millsboro, Delaware until Tuesday. That would have been a disaster for my week. Anyway, so I was planning on going out and crossing Baltimore, DC, the whole Metroplex late tonight, and then sleeping out in Marlboro. But they're like, well, we load until midnight tonight. And I'm like, I was gonna skip traffic, but I decided I don't want to cut it that close to the wire. So I'm gonna brave your wee Montana boy, your skinny wee Montana boy's gonna brave it. I'm gonna just do it. But I think I'm gonna get through before the traffic gets real snarly. I'm about 65 miles out of Baltimore, and it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Come on, baby, let's go! Humans. So many Here's a good looker, huh? Guys, I've been waiting here since, well, like midnight last night, but we're almost done. I think I'm the next truck in line. As soon as this guy pulls out of the hole down there, then it's showtime to biz. So they'll unload me, blow out my trailer, and then I'll jump on the scale, reweigh, and then spin around to the other side of the building, and they'll load me with turkey meal. So we're gonna be rocking. This guy over here is kind of like me. He'd been waiting all day long too. Wait, swing, better swing. But it's like, wait, better. You guys want to know what the biggest contentious, if that's a word, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The biggest contentious buzzkill is, for me, when I'm trying to do these trucking vlogs, is when I get to a place and there's all this stuff going on, and it'd be so fun to be able to explain to you how this place is set up and how they're like stockpiling different meals, different kinds of meal, and mixing it and blending it and putting it on trucks to go out of here, which is so rare. Like, to unload at one place and get a reload right out of there, so rare. But they're very weird about their rules. Like, I can't even open my own trap. So, like, give us your handle. I'm like, it's my handle. Not today, sir. Don't sir me. It's my handle. Sir, you're not allowed to open your trailer. Okay, fine. You open it. I like, especially after trucking and sitting. It's like, can I get out and help a little bit? Oh, no. I'm afraid I might fall and break my leg. So, anyway, so much for that. I'm here unloading meal. Poultry meal. Feather meal. They said feather meal on my dispatch, but I don't think it is. I think it's some other kind of something. It's too dark to be feather meal. But anyway, here I sit, just trying to keep you entertained. I would love to just go out, but not today, boys and girls. Not today. You guys ready for a little stealth mode? Can't take it anymore. I gotta have something going for you. Gotta have something in it. Stay real quiet. I don't want them to hear you. There's one there, there. And they open them up. It's over and drops in. When they're done with that gate, they shut it, and it moves it down to the next gate, which they open, and it drops on in there. So we're just about loaded, you guys. We got the bulk of it done. On a camera, in a camera. Continuum. Anyway, just a little more to drop in there. You guys, I don't know a lot of things, but I do know this. The only way to do Washington, D.C. is 1 in the morning. It is so nice.
Stay in the left 4 lanes.
So nice. You just rock and you roll and you rodeo. no cars, no traffic, no standstills, no garbage, no humans. Just a nice stroll. See, me and the street sweeper over there? Check that old boy out. He's selling the same thing. He's like, you know